Bonjour everyone, Françoise Alouin-Monroe, astrologer. Welcome to my channel, The Guiding Star. In astrology, as above so below, is a core principle from Hermeticism, suggesting a profound connection and correspondence between the celestial realm, the above, and the earthly realm, the below. Meaning what happens in the heavens mirrors and influences events and characteristics on earth and vice versa. And today I want to share something that I feel is very remarkable and important to know. And that is, in a sense, the signature of this timeline. You look at what is happening in your life and in the life of your loved ones and in the life of people around you, and on the global scale as well, what is happening in the world, and we witness the end of an era. This is connected to the passage of Saturn in the final 30 degrees of Pisces. Of course, there is Neptune here as well, in a close conjunction with Saturn, and she is also transiting this final degree of Pisces. She signifies a period of profound spiritual and creative recalibration and invites you to a deeper inward journey and encourages a confronting of illusions, a deepening of inspiration, and a release of the superflu. Neptune calls for balancing the ethereal with grounding in reality, fostering a more authentic connection to yourself and the world, suggesting a transition from dissolving the old to building anew. But I want to focus on the passage of Saturn on the final 30 degrees Pisces that signifies a period of significant transition endings and the establishment of new foundations, particularly in spiritual and emotional realms, encouraging self-discipline, compassion, and a deeper understanding of your life purpose. Saturn is seen as a cosmic judge that delivers the results of your good and bad karma, ensuring a karmic balance in your lives, and this transit represents a period of significant learning and self-reflection where you are prompted to address past mistakes and prepare for the future. The 30 final degree of Pisces is the last degree of the zodiac wheel, representing the end of a chapter and the beginning of a new one. And Saturn's presence on this final degree suggests the karmic closure of cycles and the preparation for a fresh start. So it can be a time of letting go of all patterns and embracing the unknown. This degree emphasizes the power of intuition and the importance of connecting with your inner guidance. It encourages you to cultivate discipline in your spiritual practices and to establish healthy boundaries in your relationships, preventing self-sacrifice and emotional overwhelm. Saturn on these final degrees represents the confrontation you can have with yourself. It is like looking in a mirror and seeing your soul, and it brings about an inner dialogue of reprogramming to complete a new identification of yourself on all levels, physical, mental, and spiritual. Saturn at the final 30 degrees of Pisces comes to tear off your mask. 30 degrees of Pisces is a degree called analytic. It represents a point of intense experience and culmination of the lessons learned within the sign of Pisces. It is also called a degree of fate because it can indicate a point where you have less control over a situation and events may unfold with a sense of inevitability. It is a point where you are invited to release all patterns before moving forward. And every 30 years cycle of Saturn returns to this key position, the final degree of Pisces. Saturn is a planet of structure, of our skeleton, our incarnation, but also the planet of judgment And with Saturn on this final degree, we ask ourselves, what have we done with our lives? What is remarkable is that Saturn visits 3 times this degree, 30 degree of Pisces. First time from May 13 to May 25. Then he enters Aries, then retrograde, and return to 30 degree of Pisces. Will return there the 1st of September to the 14th of September. Then he will go direct, and his last visit to this final degree will be the 5th of February to the 14th of February next year. Planets go regularly in retrograde because we have to learn or relearn lessons, and we have to recover something, and we have to recover information to better move forward. So during the timeline from May 2025 until February 2026, you have the opportunity to take a clear-eyed look at your life, your shortcoming, your withdrawal, and to make a decision to position yourself differently. And the total liberation of the decision you are going to make during this timeline will be executed February next year. This is valid on a personal and collective level as well. Saturn brings you the ability to implement another program, one you will decide on. This is a time when you can communicate directly with your soul, a time where your innermost being questions you. What am I doing with my life? What do you embody in concrete terms? So if there are things that are not working in your life, in your business, in your relationship, the relationships with your family, your children, your partner, if you have physical body issues, if you have all of this not working, then it is a great time for introspection, a time to reprogram yourself with positive thinking. And you can practice the Ike Hawaiian principle of Huna that said, Ike, the world is what I think it is. I am aware. I look at the glass half full and not half empty. And then you can activate a different energy that will prepare you for the next cycle. You are here in this life, and Saturn represents your body. But you are also your mind, your head, your consciousness. Saturn rules Capricorn, the highest sign of the zodiacal wheel. And therefore Saturn is the highest spirit, and his wisdom transcends time. So now with the transit of Saturn on the final 30 degree of Pisces and the 1st degree of Aries, it is like a great portal, a sacred passage to be crossed. And we are invited to make an energetic descent, which is a form of reduction. The symbol of reduction and passage brings to mind incarnation, the fetus passing through the cervix, which will be born and incarnate in matter. The risk in incarnation is identifying with our incarnate being. What is most important to the soul is our own body. Once the body is lost, incarnation no longer exists. On the other hand, the risk of incarnation is identifying with the limits that our incarnation will impose. And this is truly what this degree of Pisces tells us. At this final degree of Pisces, Saturn appears at death as the judge of karma. He brings you a resolution, a conclusion. So during this period, it is a time to bring closure to certain matters, to say farewell to loved ones. Saturn can seem very threatening, but in life there are things, situations, relationships, lives that come to an end. There are processes that have reached maturity and are no longer necessary. It is the expiration of all karma. We often view karma with a negative eyes, with a sense of punishment, but when we look closely, sometimes we are also responsible for what happens to us, or what does not happen to us. And here, Saturn, activating the final 30 degree of Pisces, forces you to take responsibility. That is to say, you are not a victim. The society we live in sometimes invites us to be a permanent victim. So I often hear, I am a victim of my upbringing, of the violence I've suffered. I am a victim of society, I am a victim of the world, or even I am a victim of myself. Currently, this victim mindset does not mesh at all with Saturn, because Saturn is going to tell you, hey, you have a choice. You have the choice to be what you decide to be. You are in a period of transition, so either you remain locked within your limits, your mental barriers, in your negativity, and at that moment Saturn will make you rigid. Or Saturn invites you to go beyond that. That is to say, it is a culmination, it is a transition. Saturn at the final degree of Pisces speaks to you of a process of transformation which is now reaching its peak. So you can spend your life introspecting, looking at your childhood pains, and at a certain point, which is now, you can say, well, that's it. It's over. I am closing the box. I know enough about myself. It does not make sense anymore. And now I am going to discover life. I am going to do something else. That is to say, I am going to draw the quintessence of this experience to try to embody something totally different. Because with this transit of Saturn, you are in incarnation. You are giving birth to yourself. So this final 30 degree of Pisces is a degree where you can reinvent yourself. If you have a dream, what is stopping you from achieving it? So if you ask yourself, you will realize that yes, maybe you don't have the energy to make it happen. Maybe it seems out of your reach, or yet if you give yourself the means, if you invest yourself completely, if you decide to transform yourself, perhaps at these moments of passage, with Saturn at the final 30 degree of Pisces, you can project your thoughts, activate them, and make them a reality. You are in any case in a new cycle of incarnation, so practice your Makia Hawaiian principle of Huna. Energy flows where attention goes. Focus on your transformation. Visualize it to manifest it. In fact, the regular practice of all the 7 principles of Huna offers insights into how to navigate your life challenges, cultivate positive energy, and live in harmony with yourself and the world. They are so empowering indeed. I love to practice them. They are so effective. With Saturn on the final degree of Pisces, you have a choice. You are at a turning point of your destiny. You can turn adversity into triumph, or be the architect of your own downfall. Why? Because when you cannot reinvent yourself, when you cannot realize that a situation is now over, and when you cannot see how you can transform it into something positive, well, at that moment, you enter a form of disappearance and death. So the idea is to reinvent yourself, to re-actualize yourself. Your life can be compared to a book where the passages of your life are the chapters. I know that many of you, myself, several times in my life, have had the painful experience of losing a loved one. After losing that loved one, you become a different person for sure. Sadness has overwhelmed you, and you may have remained in this nostalgia for a while, perhaps a long time. Perhaps you are still in there, and then you might want to move on, because if you dwell on the past, you cannot look serenely and happily to the future that lies ahead. In astrology, it is accepted that at the moment of incarnation on Earth, between the 30 degree of Pisces and the 0 degree of Aries, the soul receives the breath of life. During this period of energetic descent, Saturn weakens, loses his power, and will reveal another face, that of the guide of karma, who comes to extend his hand to you. So when you meet him, what are you going to say and present to him? And on the other hand, when we give up our divine spark at the moment of our last breath, this takes place on the 30 degree of Pisces as well. So symbolically, we are all currently passing through the final 30 degree of Pisces. We are now at total completion. So what work are we going to present? What have you accomplished in your life? Are you satisfied with your accomplishments, or have you only lived through fears and renunciations? How have you contributed to making this world a better place? This is the questions you will also ask yourself at the end of your life. So what do you want to embody in your life? What do you wish to develop and bring as an offering to your soul the day you are reunited with it? The answer comes from Saturn, that is, bringing wisdom, bringing reflection, bringing experience in all humility can be meaningful to the people who receive it. So now, here we are, still in our incarnation, and Saturn lays down his weapons and shows us another face, that of the guide of light. This is to remind us that we incarnated on earth to accomplish something or to participate in something. And it is by fully returning to the fundamentals of our own life that we will be able to reborn into something. So no matter your past, no matter what you have done or have not done, your book is ending. We are in a rebirth. So on what basis are we going to start again? During this timeline of Saturn leaving the final degree of Pisces to enter Aries, it is truly this question of starting over that is arising. So to summarize, the final 30 degree of Pisces is associated with themes of completion, the culmination of a cycle, and the potential for a new beginning. It can also highlight the importance of intuition and the need to step outside of conventional thinking. It marks a time of deep introspection, where you may feel a sense of finality, while simultaneously being drawn towards the unknown, and be the fool who jumps into the abyss. So thank you for listening to me again. Thank you for your beautiful messages. I hope this astrological reflection will make you think and inspire you to take action on this final 30 degree of Pisces timeline. Don't forget to click the thumbs up and share your thoughts in a comment. And whenever you feel a calling for having your celestial map explored, please contact me on info@francoisemonroe360art.au. Blessed be all with love.